It's a new day, Newnan. Yes, it is. And coming at you from within is Newnan Time with Harold. I am in you right now. You're not actually listening to. You might be like, what, Harold? I'm on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or I don't know, Audible, and that's how I'm hearing you. No. I am so deep within your soul and body, feeling through you to get this podcast out, that you have convinced yourself you are listening to this on a podcast source, but really you are experiencing this at a deeper level. I am Newnan Time with Harold, local news in a roundabout way. I have been servicing Coweta County, really Fayette County, really the entire world since the COVID era. And what I do is I just try to be silly and try to be fun and try to show the sides of our small little town that we've got the real newspaper, we've got businesses, we've got the police department who every now and then will be kind of silly, but there's not enough focus on just the silly part, just the stuff we can laugh about. And that's what I do. And not only do I do that, I do it exceptionally well. I'm really good at it. I'm great. I am a perfect human. Is basically what I am saying is that I am perfect. Anyways, as always, I love everybody. It's great to have you here. I wouldn't say I love everybody, but I find something to like and a way to connect with pretty much everyone. I won't say everyone because I'm not one of those like internet troll type people that's like, Hitler was misunderstood. Serial killers are people too. Oh, I like Jeffrey Dahmer because he had a nice mustache. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But I am the kind of guy that when I meet somebody that I've only heard bad things about, I'm a little bit more devil's advocate, devil's advocate-y, where I'm like, there's probably something good about him. Because in my experience, look, I was garbage. You find Harold when he was early 20s, and then honestly, early 30s, and if it wasn't for people who heard, in my life in general, I will say this, I have probably spent 3 years of 37 years being a legitimate good person. It's not been long of it. And if there haven't been people in my life that have said, hey, I'm going to look for the good in you, hey, I'm going to acknowledge the good in you, hey, I still think you matter, I want to hang out with you, I want to learn from you, let me influence you in a good way. I'd be dead. Yeah, I struggle with those kinds of thoughts. So we're getting into it today. So I would have been like, you know what, screw this, life's too hard. And I wouldn't have grown. So I find it very important to give that same thing to people. Because pretty much everybody, again, I'm not going to say everyone, but to me, the core of people, there are two things people want. People want you to acknowledge and see something they're really good at. Something it doesn't have to be one thing, but like a handful. They want you to acknowledge that they're good at stuff. Be like, oh God, you're so good with people. Oh my goodness, you're such a good parent. Like if you can hit that with people, they're gonna like you. But then the second thing is, can you connect with them on the thing they're struggling with? Something that they're looking to overcome. And that's tougher because a lot of people don't want to admit that there's something they need to overcome. So you got to be sensitive about it. You don't want to bring it up in a way in front of everyone that embarrasses them. But if they can feel like they're safe with you to talk about it and be open and vulnerable with the thing that they are struggling with, the thing that makes them not perfect, the thing they're embarrassed about, the moment they feel safe enough to talk to you about it, and the moment they feel like you see the things that they're really good at, you got them. You're connected with this person. And it's those two things. Those two things, the fact that people in my life have connected with me on those two things is why I'm here today. And that is what I try to do for other people. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I compliment people and they go, you're weird, bro. Why are you talking about the fact that I'm real good at hopscotch or whatever. Terrible example. And sometimes when I try to connect with somebody on something that they're struggling with, they don't want to talk to me about it, which is perfectly fine. But my goal when I meet people is to hit those two things. And that they will, and I'm very open and vulnerable and want them to meet those two things on me. And then with our two things together, we squish into a friendship and a relationship, and that is what I am out to do in my day-to-day life. What is that? What am I talking about today? What does that have to do with anything? I don't remember. I don't think it does matter. This is Snow Watch, y'all. We are waiting in anticipation for what everyone. I don't know if I'm going to say hoping. What people are saying might be the big old snow hitting Newnan this weekend. Of course, we're all following Newnan Kauita scanner traffic. If there is one Facebook page better than me, which I don't know if there is, more informative than me is probably a better way to say it. It would be them, those. They do a very good them-they job of, not to say they are them, they, those, but they, those, them do a good job of discussing the weather and what is happening and just crime and all kinds of stuff. And then they got a little bit of personality thrown in there. They are a mecca of information. And they're one that the Newnan Times-Herald will acknowledge. So, okay. So I see you. I see you, boy. Why you want to pretend like I ain't here? And we are waiting to see if this weekend being January 24th and 25th, if we're going to get that sweet-ass snow. And we're going to get that winter weather that everybody's been chipping about. But we might not. I don't really have an update. Because currently I'm looking outside, it's just a little wet. I'm wearing a big old poofy jacket in my living room. Newnan deserves some snow, don't you guys think? It's always so funny because when we don't have snow, we really want the snow. Then we get the snow, and then if it lasts more than like 24 hours, we're like, man, this sucks. We want a little bit of snow. Give us like 4 hours of snow and then melt and let us get back on them streets. We gotta run them streets, and we can't run them streets if they snowy and wet. But I'm trying to find things to do before the snow comes and gets me. In just about, what time is it? About 30 minutes, bro. I'm going to Golden's on the Square for lunch with Tim Ryan. We had him on the podcast last year, a little bit after we had Mr. Mayor. Isn't that wild to think that the mayor, before it was even announced that he was running for mayor, before he did it publicly, he came over to my house and sat in my kitchen and did a podcast with me. That is the influence that I have. If you come to my kitchen, I'll get you elected. I don't know if that's true. Don't hold me to that. But Tim Ryan for Coweta County Commissioner, he's a friend of mine, and him and I will be going to lunch today. So maybe something interesting will happen there. He's just I don't know if it's a business lunch or if it's just a hangout lunch. I'm not exactly sure what we're meeting up to talk about. He just asked if he could take me to lunch, and if you're gonna offer to get me lunch, I will literally do anything with you. If you paying, I am slaying down that sweet Herald time. Speaking of politics, speaking of Mayor Keith. I almost said Mayor Keith Shepard. Can you imagine if they morphed into one person and we have Mayor Keith Shepard? Whoops. I went to his, I don't know if you call it inauguration, swearing-in ceremony was the official title, but through the Herald grapevine, I called it inauguration. Incorrectly, probably. But I was there, and I've never been, I'm going to be honest, and it makes me sound like a bad citizen, which is okay. I'm a bad lots of things. I'd never been to City Hall before. And I didn't know if I wanted to say that, because it's like, well, you're a bad person then, if you haven't been to City Hall. And, bad person. But this is my first time going to inside City Hall, so I didn't know how big it was going to be. I've seen like videos of it, but I didn't know how big it was going to be. I didn't know if you get inside, if you have to like get a name tag, or like if they go and they pat you down to make sure I'm not bringing in any illegal mustaches. I didn't know if any of that stuff was going to happen. So to get there and be like, oh, you just walk in and you go to the left and there's this big old room, like a cute little movie set with your cute little names and little hammers. Oh, it's so cute. It was cute. But when I got there, the first person I saw, of course, is Mr. Mayor himself. I was able to see him and his family. I met his father. What a cool dude! Just he seemed very very excited. Obviously not like father, like from the blood of the of the DNA, like Jurassic Park, but like a father figure. I'm not exactly sure how he tied into it, but at least he had like big father figure vibes. Maybe he was his wife's father. He looked like James, so maybe that's like I convinced myself he looked like James. Like when you see somebody with a small dog and they're small, and you're like, wow, they match their dog. And I'm a big James Shepherd fan, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, I'm a big, pretty much everybody fan. Like, I really enjoyed Keith Brady, really enjoyed Danny Beck. I was in the position of, you know what, I see something cool about all of them. I have a favorite. We don't have to get into that because nobody's asking. But I found something I liked about all of them as we've discussed. But it's great. It's always great seeing James. He's his sense of humor. I have a very easy time talking to him, and believe it or not, I actually don't really love like just like going out into the town and just being my like I'm not a super confident person. When I'm just being myself. It's not that I'm not super confident. I am super confident. I am disgustingly confident, but it takes me a minute to get socially recharged. I spend most of my time alone during the day, and then it's at night I get these big bursts of people when I go to work and stuff, and then when my family gets home from work. But I spend my time at home during the day working from home just alone. Usually don't even talk to somebody until 3:30. So it takes me a bit to remember how to be social, is a better way of putting it. And with Shepard, it happens quick. It's the moment we see each other, the first thing he says is usually something that makes you comfortable and you feel like, okay, bam, I'm ready. Let's do this. So the first person I spoke to on that day was him. So it was cool to be like, bam, all right, cool, we ready to go. I met a photographer. I wish I could remember her exact Facebook page name so I could promote it. Yancy photography. She did pictures for the. Like I remember who she was. Yeah, Van C Photography, Newnan, Georgia. I knew it wasn't Yancey. Yancey sounded wrong. Van C Photography, Newnan, Georgia. Give them a plug there because she was lovely. I had a good time talking to her, and just getting to know somebody. So I went from bam, bam, bam. So just a good bit of going in there and talking, and then I went in there. I went into the city hall again. Didn't expect it to be what it was like. It's cute. It's like a little Lego set. And I found a wall to lean up against, and then the first thing they did was a little bit of a meeting with Brady and the members of the city council that were leaving, and they just did a very short thing, and they got a plaque, and they did like a goodbye speech, and it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit emotional just hearing these people, and I don't know how long they've all worked together. Like I know how long Brady's been there, but regardless of who's taking over and what you feel about them. Again, this is where I'm saying that we need to look at people about what's hard for them and what they're overcoming. It's got to be hard to have been somewhere for that long and now you're just not there anymore. Like it'd be like losing a family, yeah? Like I thought I was watching and listening and just, whoa, that is a loud bird. And I was just thinking, man, that's got to be tough. I know, I understand it's politics and it's work, and this is how it all goes, but it's people doing it. It's people in politics, and it's people doing jobs. At the end of the day, those are the people who are having thoughts, just like we have thoughts all the time. And I'm thinking about all kinds of things constantly. People in politics and people working a job, they have thoughts constantly too, and some of them are probably real sad, and you probably get lonely, and you probably, I don't know, I felt bad. Not in a way of like, oh, this shouldn't be happening, but in a way of, damn, that's tough. That's a tough situation to just be there for so long, and now you're just not going to be there. So it was not like I didn't cry or nothing because I've never cried before, but it was a little, that's what I'm trying to do on the podcast, is just give you kind of the how I'm feeling. Like, that I'm going through these things and I'm doing it for Noonan Time with Harold, but how did I feel nearing it? And I felt a little emotional, like, damn, like imagine that, like I can relate to it in a small bit. I worked at Newnan Theater Company for like 15 years or something. And then one day they told me that there were complaints about the culture that I was creating as a director, and they wanted me to stop directing and stop being involved in that way. And and I think I deserved it, not to say anything like that, but knowing that the people didn't want me there anymore, it hurt, and it took a long time to get over that. I probably am still not over that, but that is just a small level, a very small level of just being like, wow, everything is now going to change. And it does. It changes. And it's tough. So then they're out. Boom. Goodbye. They have their plaques. Brady smiled at me, so I wish he would have talked to me. I emailed him a couple of weeks ago before he left office, and he never emailed me back. So I would love to get in touch with him. I don't know if he's mad at me, or, he probably is not even thinking about me at all. Honestly, probably not even crossing his mind. But I would have loved to meet up with him one more time and play Candyland one more time. So kind of lame that we didn't get to do that. So they're gone, and then we bring in the swearing in of Brady and some new council members. Oh, not Brady. God, I keep calling him Brady. His name is James Shepard, not Keith Shepard, not James Brady. James Brady's a badass name, though. I'll tell you that. And they get up there, they start getting into the thing, and then when things are pretty fine right there at the beginning, James is definitely, and he brings this up. He's good about being honest about what he doesn't know yet. And he made a lot of mistakes just when it came to the specifics of what you're supposed to say. Like, you have the floor and vote, blah, veto. I don't remember it's all the nonsense that you have to say in a city hall meeting. And he had a hard time just remembering the right thing to say at the right time and what, like, the official rules of how to run a city hall meeting, I guess. I don't know what you call it. The nonsense. No, not nonsense, but the stuff that makes sense to them, but to all of us, we're like, okay, whatever. I don't know why they need to say all in favor for everything and all this stuff. Like, okay, cool. Just clap if you like something. Just say hoot and holler if you agree, or whatever. Take your shirt off, put it over your head, spin it like a helicopter. Whatever. And he had a hard time with that, but he was pretty good about saying, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is not how I'm used to doing it, but yeah, I'm doing it wrong. Oh, sorry. I apologize. Like, he was good about that. But things got tense. And when he went to nominate his city attorney, Strickland, and he had sent an email about it that apparently nobody got, or at least two of the people who didn't agree with him didn't get. Who knows if it was nobody? It seems weird. It both seems weird for them not to have received the email and for him to have sent the email the day of. Both are weird things, but I don't know how it's supposed to go. So I would think when you're involved in politics, you probably have a lot of last minute emails being sent out. And I also think there are probably times emails get lost. So it's one of those things where I don't know enough to have an opinion on it. But then things got tense, and then it just became where it was about trying to call out each other and disagreeing with each other. And again, I've never been to a city hall meeting in person before, so I don't know if that is par for course. So I'm sure, and I've seen all the sides. I've seen the sides of Shepard's trying to do new for new's sake, change for change's sake. Shepard's doing it not in the right way. He's not doing the kind of search he should be, and I absolutely understand Shepard's point of view, where Strickland being a great choice, and Shepard's trying to avoid some legal issues. Like, I understand on the surface what all those things mean, but I am also really good about knowing what I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know what the charter says. But what I did learn while being in there is that I'm glad I'm not mayor. I'm glad I'm not a city council member. It looks stressful. And the people who are doing it, again, I see something good about all of them. I see something annoying about all of them. And I think this is just growing pains. I think it's going to end up being, they're going to end up getting to know each other, and they're all going to, if The city council members that may not like Shepherd right now are anything like me, which it's probably easy to compare me to older white men. They gonna end up loving that bugger. They're gonna be like, "Oh, Shepherd, you so silly and lighthearted. We love you," and they're all gonna work together. And it's just gonna take. New relationships take a bit. It's not always fireworks right out the gate. Sometimes it is fireworks. Sometimes it's like sexy fireworks, and sometimes it's like fighting fireworks. Isn't that weird that like fireworks can mean both things? Like it's like, oh god, there are fireworks out there. It means like these people are fighting, and it also means like, oh, there are fireworks between us, which means like y'all are horned up and ready to go. Not to say anyone in the Newnan government needs to be horned up and ready to go. But you understand the point I was trying to make because you understand me, and I appreciate that you understand me. So what I did learn in my first City Hall visit is that politics are long, confusing. There's a lot I don't know, but it's all very interesting, and I hope that it all works out for the best. But not so much so that there's not funny things that will happen that I can talk about. Because if everyone gets along with everyone and all the food is good and all the shops are great and there's nothing to make fun of, there's no reason for me. And then I fade and I turn into reverse fairy dust, unfairy dust. Like I don't know what is the reverse of a fairy dust? What's the reverse of a fairy? So fairies are like floating little tiny guys. So probably a giant. Because giants can't fly and they're real big. So I would say, and they're both fantasy. Yeah, so yeah. I turn into giant dust, the reverse of fairy dust. And we don't want that to happen whatsoever. Anyways, this has been Newnan Time with Harold. I don't know if I said anything that you find interesting or important, but if you were bored and you're like, God, I could have done better than that, prove it. Come over and let me interview you. Let's do a podcast together. That's what this was all intended for, is to do things together. But I do want to do the podcast every week, so I keep putting out episodes. You can, of course, find me at NoonanTimeWithHarold.com, Newnan Time with Harold, Facebook, Newnan Time with Harold, Instagram, Newnan Podcast with Harold. And I'm on Cameo, Newnan Time with Harold. Zazzle, Newnan Time with Harold. That is a shop where you can buy products, shirts and hats and stuff. A lot of them are very funny. So check those out. Is that all my stuff? Oh, and then I have an entertainment company, High Spirits Entertainment, or you can just go to Newnan Time with Harold, or just contact me any old way. We do trivia. We have a very special trivia game that nobody else is doing. It's basically Family Feud. We get to play it, at your table, so you have like sheets of paper, and you're trying to match the answers of the 100 locals that I interviewed. I do stand-up. I do improv. I do it all in a basket of cheese curds. So I love you. And I guess I have to go to lunch, and when I get back, if you're still here, that would be really weird because I recorded this the day before. I die.